Example 2. A toy manufacturer finds it acceptable if 1/100% of the toys made are defective. We're going to write this number as a fraction in simplest form. Note that I said 1/100% of the toys. So, to start out, how are we doing this? Click. Thank you. First, we need to write the percent as a fraction. Remember, whatever number they give you becomes the numerator, the top, even if it's a decimal. This is one of those special instances where you can have a decimal in your fraction. And the denominator, of course, will always be 100 when dealing with percentages. So, we're going to write 1/100th over 100. Okay? Can we simplify that? Well, the decimal in the fraction does look a little weird, so let's get rid of it. Because I read the decimal as 1/100th, I'm going to multiply both the top and bottom by 100. That'll get us 1 over 10,000. And that gets rid of the decimal. This means that the company finds it okay if 1 out of every 10,000 toys has a problem or a defect. It's a very small number of acceptable defects. Okay, now we're going to write this percent as a decimal. Now we just wrote that percent as a fraction. So to write it as a decimal, we're going to write it just how we say it. The 1 needs to be in the 10,000th place because we read it 1/10,000th. So remember that 10,000ths is the one that comes after thousands. We don't deal with it much, but it's there. Don't forget about it. It'll get upset with you if you did that. So 1/10,000th has 3 zeros before the 1 after the decimal point. That is 1/100th of a percent, which is the same as 10,000ths. Moving on to example 3. Pablo opened a bookstore. During his second year, he sold 150% of the books he sold his first year. Write the percent as a fraction in simplest form. Now, here we go again. With strange numbers, we're going to have 150%, which is more than 100%. First, we need to write the percent as a fraction. Remember, whatever number they give you becomes the numerator. Even if it's a decimal, it's not a decimal this time. It is over 100, which is going to be the denominator. So we end up with 150 over 100. Now we need to write that in simplest form. Sometimes large numbers can make the brain panic. I noticed the extra 0 on both the numerator and the denominator. We'll just cross those out. They cancel. We know how to do that. 10 over 15 is a much easier number to deal with. And we notice this is an improper fraction, which means that when we simplify it down to 3/2, dividing both top and bottom by 5, we know how to deal with that. 3/2 is the same as 1.5. So for every 1 book he sold last year, he sold 1.5 this year, which is a lot easier if we go every 2 books he sold last year, he sold 3 this year. Now, let's write that as a decimal. Well, we did the fraction last time, so 1 and 1/2. Remember that the word and means decimal when we're dealing with fractions and decimals. So when I say 1 and 1/2, I know I'm going to write 1 point something. Where is the second place at? So remember that when we're converting fractions to decimals, we are not simply replacing the fraction bar with a decimal point. We know that 1/2 is equivalent to the fraction 5/10ths, and we know where the tenths place is. So converting 1 and 5/10ths is as simple as putting the 1 in front of the decimal point and the 5 after it. So 1.5 is the same as 150%. Your assignment is on Google Classroom. You are welcome to watch this video and the others, as well as Mrs. Fraser's examples, as many times as you need. If things aren't making sense, please pop in to your teacher, however they handle, however Mrs. Fraser handles things. If you're in my class, you can pop into the Meet. If you're in Mrs. Fraser's class, give her a text or a call and ask for help if you need it.